Well, alternatives I have from supplements, I can regulate the concentration in phospholipids, so I will especially turn to omega-3. I can have enzymatic alternatives. I have to look for natural aspirin, the natural NSAID, or I can also look for other types of regulators or even digestive enzymes that do other things. Well, I have provided some references here for you to see how certain vegetables, in the case of osteoarthritis, can inhibit certain metabolic steps. You have them here. There are interesting reviews where they discuss the source, that is, what type of vegetable, what type of source, and what it does, so you can review it. We focus on anti-inflammatories, and we have those that inhibit COX-2. This is not specific, this is COX-1 or COX-2. This does not have the same specificity as a drug. But we can more or less know that turmeric, ginger, bromelain, and boswellia, in which step, etc. And for me, since I am also a bit of a nuisance, here we all get excited about COX and OX, but we always leave phospholipase A2 aside. I thought Boswellia influenced that, and I believe it does, but there aren't many studies either. And yet I say, well, look, I have put a review here for you. I think it is in the O-Pharm magazine, which is very pharmaceutical, Marissa, who is from O-Pharm, where you have a review of ursolic sources, even with more cosmetic use, but it can perfectly be valid here as well. Well, Boswellia, a wonderful plant, Ayurvedic medicine, whose main active principle or main active principles are boswellic acids. Look at the structure of a boswellic acid and look at the structure of a corticosteroid. It is due to chemical similarity. It is the same as what happens with an isoflavone and estradiol. The action is due to chemical similarity, nothing more. Therefore, this is a cortico-like. It is a substance like a corticosteroid. That's why I thought it also had to be an antiphospholipase 2 action. In Boswellia, in summary, what it does is fundamentally inhibit 5-LOX. There are two types of LOX, 12 and 5. The harmful one, the one that leads me to the ethers and leukotrienes, is 5-LOX, which is the one I need to inhibit, and Boswellia is what inhibits it. In addition to that, it also inhibits other tissue-destructive enzymes. Interesting. Therefore, I'm going to use it in osteoarthritis, especially in the knee, but also in arthritis. Systematic reviews tell me that it is effective. The same Spanish Society of Rheumatology concludes that it has good tolerance and is recommended for blah, blah, blah. Study conducted in 2003. The clinical studies indicate something similar to the graph we saw. And when we compare it with a COX-2 inhibitor, I have to wait 2 months for it to take effect. That is to say, it is also slow. It is slower, but its effect persists after the treatment ends. And the action of the COX-2 inhibitor is faster, but it also disappears when I stop. Pregnancy is contraindicated. And it is very important that basically almost all extracts are standardized to 65% in boswellic acids. It is very important that you work with Boswellia standardized in boswellic acids with an adequate concentration to the clinical trials. Turmeric, is used to make curry, blah, blah, blah. It is a wonderful spice. And here, notice that it is a COX-2 inhibitor and also has a certain LOX action, but it also inhibits the enzyme that forms nitric oxide, which also initiates an inflammatory cascade. In other words, notice how turmeric is spectacular because it does a lot of things for me, and it is also anti-metabolic because it is inhibiting many inflammatory type metabolites. And Susanna is no exception. That is to say, pain relief. You explained very well. I knew what the difference is between the two. The indications. Although the European agency talks about digestive issues, it is also mentioned. There are studies that also discuss joint pathology, especially when we manage around 1 gram of curcumin. Here, turmeric extracts are usually standardized to 95% curcumin. Therefore, with about 1 gram, we would be on track. In the Journal of Estrotherapy, there is a review that indicates that when combined with diclofenac, there is a higher percentage of improvement with curcumin. When I compare it with an NSAID, I see that both are very much in line. Curcumin and the NSAID are very much in line, therefore this is an alternative to an NSAID. And if I compare it with a COX-2 inhibitor, when I combine turmeric with Boswellia, it improves. Therefore, turmeric should be combined with Boswellia. I don't have to resort to a COX-2 inhibitor that is so controversial. More studies, for example, this is from now, it's from yesterday. Yesterday I spoke with the author. I found it yesterday, 2018. It's a good design, although they also use a commercial preparation and turmeric. With Boswellia increases, that is, the synergistic effect, increases efficacy. Therefore, interesting. The dosage is what I mentioned earlier, only that we have a problem, which is the low bioavailability of turmeric. For example, turmeric is used a lot in brain tumors, especially. So, what needs to be done is to look for liposomal forms or find some kind of vehicle. For example, a pepper or bromelain, that is something that allows me to transport it. Ginger, also interesting, 2 things. The gingerol, which is what gives the spicy flavor. So, studies have been done that demonstrate its anti-inflammatory action, both by the gingerols, which are its active principle, and by the whole extract. It also has an analgesic effect, specifically because it acts on a vanilloid receptor, such as meta-analysis says that the analgesic action is effective